Hey guys, so today what we're going to be looking at is making the basic wooden boat that we make in Year 8. So this gives you a lot of different skills. So this helps you with the tenon saw, teaches you how to drill holes on the vertical drill press, and it also helps you with chiseling and quite a few different things there. So you can see there we've got our top view where you can see how you mark it out on the piece of wood. We've then got the different stages that you go through. So you can see here that not too many of these drawings are straight. Well, you do actually have all the information, which is really good. Not too many of the actual drawings are kind of up to the quality, especially this one with all the grainy background behind it and everything. You can barely read, like that says 200. So we're going to go through and we're going to remake this on Autodesk Inventor. So now I'm going to drag this on my second screen, and you can see here I'm going to go to the top left here and click on the new icon. Now once we've done this, we're going to make sure that we're in metric. You might have this appear like that. You just need to press this little arrow, metric will come up, and then we're going to select standard millimeters IPT over here to the right, and we're going to go create. And just going to wait for this bad boy to come up. And any second now. And then what we're going to be working through is we're actually just going to make all the different parts for this. We might have it, what do we do? So what we could do, so if we want to have that same top drawing so you can see how it's all meant to be together when it's flat, we could do that originally just like this. So you're going to start off by having a 70, tab 200, enter, and this is just making a plain piece of wood. I'm going to extend that 19 millimeters. So we've got our standard bit of timber here at 70 by 19 pine. We can then draw all of our different aspects that we need on the top. So by right clicking on this, no, I need a left click, that was silly. And then go to the far right option, create sketch. I'm going to flip this around so we've got it this way. So if we're going to add these on, we're now going to, first thing first, what we're going to do is add a center line. And how we're going to do that is by drawing it straight down here. Right click, okay. We're going to do a lot of lines here and then we're going to get rid of them afterwards. It's a little bit like you'd actually do in person in terms of doing your lines and then erasing them afterwards. Okay, so now that we've got our center line, we can start working from that for a few different things. Originally what we're probably going to work from is, I'm going to actually do the circle first, because I find that really easy, because we can just put our circle here. So as long as it's on that center line, that's all that matters. And we want this circle to be 30 millimeters in diameter. The next step what we can do is actually dimension this, so the center of it from this edge here, and we're going to dimension that 20 millimeters down. So we're actually almost in the perfect spot anyway, we're like 19.8 or something. So that's really good to have that there. The next we're actually going to put in our different lines going across that show where we're going to put in, whoops. So if you do accidentally go out of your sketch, you can literally just right click on it and then go edit sketch and it'll take you back into it if you make the same mistake I did then. So now we're going to put our lines across. And just so even now, like I'm having to go all the way really close to this to actually see the different measurements that I need. So the first line we're going to do is actually just here, just making sure that it's straight, just like that. And then we can dimension these, and they're meant to be 50 millimeters from both ends. Bring that down. I'm on a roll. That was almost 50 millimeters then as well. That never normally happens. Normally way off. And then we're going down here, 54, again not too bad. Alright, cool, so we've got those set up there, and then we can actually offset a line from here, 19 millimeters, and we can offset a line from here, 19 millimeters. Okay, so that's so your, I'm actually going to bring these down so it looks nice and neat, just like that. Let's have the 19 in the middle. So I do kind of like to keep that nice and neat as we go. Last thing that we're going to do is actually add the point. So, and this is super easy because we actually have our lines already here. So making sure that, see how that dot goes green? So if I'm off it, it's yellow. If I'm on it, it's green. So that's snapping to a specific point. And again, so green, green. like stoplights, green means go, right click and go OK. And so you can see how we've actually made most of our parts there. It actually looks very similar to what we had previously. What we could then again do as well, if we put a center line, on this. I might finish that, that's fine. We can still see all the parts. It's whether when we take that into a drawing, we might have to come back to here and delete all of the dimensions and we'll just add more in the drawing, but that is fine. So now we have kind of our overall top-down view. Now we're going to make all the parts actually put together and make the boat that way. So to do this, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start a new drawing. So up here in the top left, click on new, and hopefully if you've done the first part, you should have metric and you should have standard millimeters already selected. If you don't, go back to the start of the video and you'll see the little trick to getting those in the right spot. Now let's start by making the base first. So what we're going to do is just kind of like if we were making this in person, we need to actually cut some of these parts out. So we've started our sketch, we've turned our top around, so click on that, that'll get our cross up in the middle and then arranging that in the right way there. So what we're going to do is start with a rectangle, and this rectangle is going to be, so 50, 19, 50, 19, or actually I've just come up with a super big brain way of doing this. So I'm going to save this first. So if I go save, and you can see here I was making the soft face hammer earlier. I'm going to call this wooden boat, and we're going to save that there. I actually made a mistake there because I definitely didn't want to save that just sitting in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to make a new folder. Sorry, I'm just going to bring this over so you guys can see it. New folder. And now this won't let me drag and drop that in there while I've got it open, so I'm actually going to exit out of it and then bring this up. Wooden boat can go in the wooden boat folder. Alright, so now if I go here to open, and we've got our wooden boat over here in our appropriate folder, and I can open that again just like that. So now what we might want to do is actually we can edit this, right? And then the important part of this, so you don't lose your stuff, is to make sure you press save as, not save. So essentially what we'd be doing, one of the things we're doing is actually drilling this hole out first and then cutting it off. Because we're on CAD, we actually don't need to do that. If I click on here, I might actually just do it on this. So right click on there and go edit sketch. So the first thing I actually need to do is delete this rectangle space there. So if I make a rectangle, just there, go to here, right click and go OK. I'm going to delete that circle, and I'm going to go delete that as well. 3D model, extrude. Now I can select that space there, and we're going to go to the cut icon in the top left here and go down. We're actually going to cut all the way through and go OK. So now we have a bit smaller rectangle, so left click on there and we can start drawing on here. So we've got a couple of things we need to do. The first thing we're going to do is cut out our two housing joints that we have. So you can see there I've selected rectangle, clicked in the top corner there when it's gone green, and you see it snaps to the bottom, and then we just need to go tab and type 19 and press enter. We can do another rectangle over here. I'm going to type tab and then 19 and press enter. Right click OK. We can actually dimension this now from the end, because we want this to be 50 just like on the other one. Okay, so now we've done that, we can actually go 3D model and we're going to extrude this again, and we're going to cut both of these out. You see there, and we're going to go cut, but we only want to cut these down to halfway. So you remember that we've made this 19, so what's half of 19? That is 8.5. Is it? No, it's not. I'm being silly. It's 9.5. 9.5. Alright, okay. So you can see there, obviously being a bit silly with my struggling with my quick maths, doing that simple addition. Double check it, 9.5. because hey, we don't want to make any mistakes, and it's super easy to check on a program like this, so it's always nice to do that. Now we need to cut a triangle out of the front. So if I left click on here and go create sketch, this is probably going to be one of the easiest parts because everything's going to snap, but we also need to go around the edge. So see how that goes green, and then it'll snap to the middle as well. And then we can click here when it goes green and make that snap to the bottom. Now the thing about this is we need to complete the edge as well. So you can see here I'm going up the side there, going around the front, and then finishing that off. Right click and go OK. So you can see there I've gone all the way around the edge as well. So that's completed those different shapes, and we need to do that. If we don't do that, it won't cut for us. Okay, so now 3D Model Extrudes. We're going to extrude our triangles there. So turning on the side, and we need to cut. We're not going halfway for this one. We're cutting them all the way through and go OK. So you can see there we've got the bottom of our boat done. Alright, so now I just need to go File, and we're going to go Save As. So we've got wooden boat there, and we're going to call this Base, because it's the base of our wooden boat. Alright, and then I can actually go up here to Open. Go to our wooden boat, open that. And we've got this kind of ready to go for our next part. You can see here that now we're probably going to make the bit that's going to insert in the front. So you can see from, if I drag in the drawing that we're working from, you can see from here that we have a little section there that we could do, as well as we might make the bit of dowel that goes in the front section as well. So for this, what we need to do is make this part. So we're going to make that rectangle and then cut a hole in the middle. Alright, so I'm going to move that onto my other screen again, and we're going to go through and edit this sketch again. Edit sketch. Now what we can do is delete a few lines. Also apologise guys if you can hear my wife working from home in these COVID times in the background as well. So clicking here, and we're going to go all the way around the edge again. Just making sure that circle goes green. We could have done this with a rectangle, but I already had a line there, so I thought I'll just keep it. Alright, now we can cut two things out at the same time. Because we're cutting all the way through, we can do this, it's super duper easy. So if we go 3D Model Extrude, and we want to cut our circle, and we want to cut that rectangle as well, we're going to go cut, and we can actually just click, so we could go 19, or we could just drag that all the way through. We're cutting it through 62, so we know it's going to go through, and we've got our part there. Now, when I was looking at this sheet of paper, I noticed that the top of this had, let's get that right. So that's the top there. So we've got that base that slides into our housing joint, and the top here had a couple of rounded edges, which is easy to do. So normally, if you're doing that in person, you're going to sand that over with a bit of sandpaper. For us, we're going to use the fillet tool just here. And we're going to put a nice little 2mm fillet on the top of our boat and go okay. So we've got those nice little curves there. One other thing we can do as well, which I might go back to the base and do as well. So if I go to Tools and I go to Material, and I type in the top here, pine. Now the specific pine that we use in Australia mostly is radiata pine. So you need to go click on that and go over to Add Material to Document. Exit out. I'm going to save that because I've already saved it as base. Go over here. I'm going to go to the same thing here. Materials. Type in pine up the top, and we can go to radiata pine. And exit out. Instead of pressing save though, we need to make sure we're careful not to do that. We're going to go File, and we're going to go Save As. And we're going to save that as upright, because that is the upright section on the boat, and press save. When we're at school as well, we don't like to have wasted pieces. So what you'll notice on here, so if I go back to wooden boat, open that, you'd be cutting out and you'd have these two triangles left over. We actually like to keep these generally, and you can stick them onto your boat. You'll notice that the drawing we have originally doesn't have those, so I might add them on because kids think it does look good, and I also think it looks pretty cool as well. So what we're going to have to do for that is edit this sketch again. Edit sketch. And we're going to delete a few lines. I might delete these measurements first because they get in the way for me a little bit. Delete that line, delete that line, delete that line, delete that line, delete that line. And delete that one. So now what we're going to do is, we only need one of these triangles. So I can also delete that one. Because when you do an assembly, you can reuse components. And we're going to click all the way around the edge here that we've got left over. And then go to the right click and go OK. And then if we go 3D Model Extrude, click on that, we're going to cut again. So a lot of this is very similar how you'd actually do it in terms of having your original piece of timber and then cutting things out and go, okay, I've now got this triangle that I can use. I'm going to go to Tools, I'm going to go to Materials, and just like we did before, I'm going to type Pine, and Radiator Pine is going to come up, and we can assign that. Now remember, not pressing that pesky Save button. File, Save As, because now we're going to save this as Triangle, because it's our triangle that we're going to use, and save that. So we've got 3 parts here. So coming over here, I'm just bringing this drawing in again. We've got our base, we've got our upright, we've got our triangles to put behind our upright. We might make our dowel now as well. So we're going to use a 6mm piece of dowel for this. So if we go, so you'll notice as well we can't go back to our base that we made previously, but we do. Oh, I've got a spare document there. I'm going to get out of that. Because no, we're not going to save it. We've got our 3 bits, base, upright, triangle. Let's make a new part. Got metric, standard millimeters, create. Start our sketch up in the top left, clicking on that part there, selecting our XZ plane here, rotating that around. Now we're going to make a little 6mm dowel, so clicking on circle and then clicking in the middle, making sure that it goes green when we need to click 6, enter, and we've got that set ready to go. Now we're going to go, I right clicked and press OK to get out of that menu, extrude, and we're going to extrude this 50mm. 51 would have been an odd number. Okay. Now for what we normally do, we normally use oak, I think, is our dowel that we typically use. So now we've done that, we can go to Tools, we can go to Materials. If I type in oak, wood oak, we can assign that, get out of it, and you can see there that it's changed its color. You can see it's quite different to the pine color as well. Now one thing that I forgot on this base is to add in where this is going to be slide in. So what we're quickly going to do is go here, left click, and go to Create Sketch. Now let's make a sketch in here. So what we could do is, with our line, it will find the center for us. See how that's gone green because it's found the center. And we can make that go all the way to the top there. Right click OK. Now what we can do, we're going to make a circle, and this circle needs to be 6mm in diameter. Right click OK. Now the only thing that we haven't done is set how far away it is from this base point there. So dimension here, just like that, and we're going to make this a nice round 15mm. Okay. Now we can actually delete this one. Whoops, we don't need that. I'll right click OK to get out of that, and then left click on the line, press delete, and we've got this ready to go. 3D Model Extrude. Now if I put this on the angle, not that angle, we want probably that angle is going to give you the best one to see. We've got 10 selected, we want 9.5 because we're going to be accurate because we're using CAD and we can be, and we're going to go halfway through and go OK. So now we've got our little hole there as well. Now on the next video, we're going to be going through how to assemble all of these together to actually make our boat, and it's going to look real cool. So hopefully you hang around till then and see how we do that.